If at first you don't succeed, try again. That's the mantra for this matchup between the Copperheads and the Xenia Scouts, as this is not the first time that they're trying to play this game. Not the second time they're trying to play this game, but it is the third time they're trying to play this game. And we'll see if the Copperheads can be able to pull out of this losing streak in a game that they're starting off with the lead 4-1. Welcome, everybody, to the broadcast. Sedric Granger, joined by Tim Hanna. And, Tim, this is a game where the Copperheads, they have the lead by 3 runs. They've started off really well in this game. Can they keep this momentum even though this game is starting about 10 days after it was last played?
I sure hope so, Sedric, coming into this game with a nice 4-1 lead, about 5 innings into it. Fresh arms on the mound today for the Copperheads in the first game of this doubleheader. We saw the Copperheads come out firing when we tried to make up this game last week at home when Xenia was in town. Copperheads got a run in that 4th inning and were able to make back up a little bit of that ground, extend their lead from 3-1 now to 4-1. I believe it was a Trey Rucker score in that one that added to the Copperheads' lead when they were in Athens last week. So I sure hope so. Sedric will try to get out of this losing streak, get back to playing winning baseball. This team knows how to win games and just haven't been able to put it together the last few days.
Yeah, we'll see if the Copperheads can do it and put the puzzle pieces together, as this matchup is being resumed from June 13th, so that's back 17 days ago where this was originally postponed, and they were able to get through a couple of innings before the rain delay ended up stopping play, and it was 3-1 at the time as the Xenia Scouts struck first in the 2nd inning with a Colby Ferris getting across the plate thanks to an RBI from Tommy Rover. So that's how he was able to get home, and they were up 1-0 until the 3rd inning. The Copperheads came alive with 3 runs, and first was Gunnar Aldridge coming home on a pass ball, and then Bam Thomas and Kyle Ratliff scored off of a 2 RBI single from Mason Nadolny. And then when the game resumed once again on the 22nd, where they only played about 2/3 of a game, it was a Carson Shepard run off of an RBI triple from Trey Rucker, which really got it going. And Copperheads, they were feeling great. They had a lot of momentum in that game. It would have probably been a win if the game would have been delayed just 1 inning later. But unfortunately for the Copperheads, the thunderstorms came and canceled a couple of games. It just seems like Mother Nature does not want the Scouts and the Copperheads to play, as we've either seen super hot conditions or we've seen really awful rain and thunder really ruin the action there. But this time around, it seems like it is the best weather yet for this matchup between the Copperheads and the Scouts. Copperheads lead the series 1-0, and they won 8-5 on June 14th against the Scouts right here at Grady's Field. And it was thanks to some really great late-game heroics.
Yeah, Josh Robinson came in pitching in front of his hometown crowd, shut the door on this Xenia Scouts team, and this game on June 4th, or that game on June 14th, probably one of the best we've seen the Copperheads play in that stretch of time. And so we'll see if they can kind of come back here to this field and continue to take care of business like they did the last time they were up here.
100%. Kyle Ratliff hit a 3-run homer in the 9th inning, which allowed the Copperheads to be victorious 8-5 in that matchup. For the Copperheads, though, they have not had a lot of games where they've been over 6 runs. It's been a very small number of games since that 8-5 win here in Xenia that they've been over that total. They ended up putting up 9 rather against the Settlers in a 11-9 loss, where they did a great job fighting to the end and rallying. But again, you're not going to win a lot of games if the bats can't come alive. But on the other side of things, the Scouts, they are a team where they've been red hot as of late, winning 6 out of their last 7, and they have risen from a team that was at the bottom of the standings the first time that the Copperheads played them, as well as the second time, to now being a team right there in the mix at 8-8.
Quite a few guys on a bit of a hot streak right now. You look at guys like, sorry, let me pull my notes here.
Yeah,
couple of guys on a hot streak. You're talking about Blaze Bell hitting .438 over his last 7 games. That's the 2nd in the league. Nate Self as well, the junior infielder from University of Tennessee Martin, also hitting .483 in his last 7 days. Tommy Rover getting the bats alive, hitting .350 in his last 7 days. And Kyle Wu, the junior infielder, hitting .571 over his last 7 games. Wu not in the lineup for this first game, the makeup game rather, but I'm sure we'll see him in that second game. As if you're head coach Tim Cole, you're not going to want to leave that guy on the bench, especially when he's hitting like that over these last couple of days.
Yeah, and Coach Cole apparently won't leave him on the benches. It looks like Wu will actually be in the lineup for today. They'll have him batting ninth. And speaking of lineups, it'll be the Xenia Scouts batting first here as we're picking up from the top of the fifth inning. And this is supposed to be a home game for the Copperheads, but Tim, this does not look like Bob Wren Stadium.
No, it's a little bit different. We're playing here at Grady's Field, as this is the second game, or the first game of a doubleheader. We were scheduled to come here today anyways, so we'll play this first game as the home team and then the second game as the away team.
I'd like to give a shout out to Trevor Stevens for the awesome opening there about the Bob Wren Stadium being changed into Grady's Field. And we have a nice serene day here at the stadium as we got a few people starting to stroll in here for the first part of this doubleheader. But we'll give out the lineups here as on the mound for the Copperheads today, it will be number 35, Matt Gilkey, making his second appearance of the season. And his only other appearance was against the Settlers, where he pitched 2 innings, and he'll look to shake off the rust a little bit as he is a newer member of this Copperhead squad. And he'll be going against the top of the order for the Xenia Scouts. It'll be Jeffrey Hurd at batting first, Blaze Bell batting second, Ross Smith third, all due up in the fifth inning. Then he'll be followed by Matt Early, Jared Eaton, Nate Self, Tommy Rover, Evan Frahella, and Kyle Wu will be rounding it out. So we'll have some differences. Actually, it looks like there's a change.
It'll be Peyton Neiman instead of Kyle Wu.
Very interesting. So Jeffrey Hurd takes the first pitch in for a strike, so solid start there from Gilkey. One thing to note from earlier this game, on the pitching staff of the Copperheads, Colin Ryan started the game as there's a hit that's belted out into right field and down for a base hit. Trey Rucker running with all his might to try to get to it. Hurd getting towards second, sliding in safe, and that starts the game off with a double here in the top of the fifth inning. And one thing I feared, Tim, is that momentum changes might happen. The Copperheads had all the momentum in the first game, and then also the second time they tried playing this game. But now, after the Copperheads have only won 1 out of their last 10, going against the hottest team right now in the GLSCL, in the Xenia Scouts, who've won 7 out of their last 10, this is where a game that might have been all Copperheads could turn around and turn sour very quickly.
This team will have to focus in if they want to continue to maintain the momentum in this one, do all the things that we've talked about in previous games, and not walk a ton of guys, not give up those easy hits, limit those errors, and then obviously on offense they'll have to get on base and take advantage of some of the mistakes like we saw when they did score runs yesterday against the Richmond Jazz, being able to take advantage of those pass balls and wild pitches, errors on the defense to score some more runs.
So Blaze Bell is up. He took the first pitch in for a ball and now takes the second pitch in for a ball as well. Blaze Bell from University of Tennessee Martin had a strikeout back in the first inning, all the way back in first time they played this matchup. That seems like an eternity ago now, 17 days. He also had a fly out, so 0 for 2, looking for his first hit. And chopper, and it goes foul for strike number 1. So it'll now be a 2-1 count to Blaze Bell, one of the coolest names there in the league.
Gilkey looking to continue on some of the things that he did well in that first matchup. Not quite the start he wanted, but was able to kind of throw strikes. Didn't have a ton of walks in that first one. It was the big hits that really was the big thing for him. Only 3 walks in that first one.
Bell fouls it out towards the third base side. So it'll be 2-2 now after 2 straight foul balls, and Gilkey with the opportunity to try to pick up his first strikeout of the day.
Biggest thing for these pitchers today is going to be pounding the zone. We saw the pitchers yesterday struggle a little bit, trying to work that outside upper part of the plate a little bit and just weren't able to find that zone. So being able to attack that strike zone, throw strikes, is going to be huge for them today.
Pitch is just above the strike zone for ball number 3, so it's full count here to Blaze Bell. Matt Gilkey once again on the mound for the Copperheads. 1 runner on in the top of the 5th inning. 4-1 is the lead for the Copperheads. It's a pop fly going into right field. Rucker's there, makes the catch, and that's one down in the inning. So Blaze Bell goes down on the fly out to Trey Rucker at his right field position. And that'll bring upon Ross Smith, who has a pair of strikeout swingings back in the first and third innings. So he's looking for hit number 1 as well on the day.
Good job by Matt Gilkey on that to give the hitter something that he can hit. Got him to get underneath that one actually and pop it up to Trey Rucker in right field. Those are the kind of things that this pitching staff's going to have to continue to do if they want to have success in this game.
First pitch to Smith is in there for a strike, hitting that bottom part of the zone. Good work from Gilkey. And over these first 3 batters, you see a lot of guys with strikeouts. It's because there was an immaculate inning to start the game for Colin Ryan, the pitcher of the Copperheads, that started it all off. He threw 12 straight strikes to start the game, and it was very impressive.
It was. We were a little bit late getting started that game just because of, some other stuff going around the ballpark. And then all of a sudden we kind of looked down at the book at the end of the first inning, and we're like, holy smokes. 9 pitches, 3 strikeouts. So really impressive start to this game almost 17 days ago.
It was nothing short of terrific as the 1-1 pitch is upstairs. So ball number 2, it'll be 2-1 to number 24, Ross Smith from Metro State College. And a couple of players from Colorado on this Xenia Scouts team, is they're very much a mix of many different players from different regions of the United States, just like the Copperheads. The 2-1 is hit right down Broadway, and it's going to be fielded by Ratliff. Ratliff's going to try to throw it down in time. No, it won't be there. So that's an RBI single for Ross Smith, scoring Jeffrey Hurd. And now it's 4-2 as the Copperheads give up a quick one. And now the game's getting a little bit closer as the Scouts get their first run since the second inning. And that'll bring on Matt Early, who has a strikeout as well as reached on an error. And he's the DH and 4th batter for this Xenia Scouts team.
This is where things, if the Copperheads aren't able to kind of settle in here, this is where things start to maybe get a little bit out of control in this early part of the game, allowing, well, as I say that, a fly out to left field.
Bam Thomas is there, makes the catch, and runner tries to tag off, thinking about it, goes back to first. So that's 2 down in the inning. Copperheads up 4-2 after a RBI single from Ross Smith, which scored Jeffrey Hurd, who had a double earlier in the inning. Gilkey with the shot to get out of the inning here as he's going to go up against Jared Eden with his first at-bat of the game, technically, as, again, with games being so far apart, it being syncopated in such a way, it's almost like a brand new day, because it is, as Jared Eden takes the first pitch outside for ball number 1. Jared Eden, a new face here. He's from USF, University of Southern Florida, so playing some big-time baseball there. Mobile, Alabama. So after the pickoff attempt with 1 runner on, 4-2 lead for the Xenia Scouts, wearing their wonderful powder blue jerseys, one of the best colors in baseball, as the 1-0 is outside and away for ball number 2 from Gilkey.
Just need to continue attacking the zone there. Work that ball back towards the inside of the plate. Give him something that you can hit. We've seen the defense make a couple of plays already here.
2-0 pitch. Chopper fouled towards the Copperheads dugout. And it'll be 2-1. Xenia Scouts have been pretty impressive, as the first time that this matchup was originally played, they were 1-3, sitting at last. And then the second stoppage, the second time they tried to play it, they were 3-7, sitting at the bottom as the runner goes. Will there be a throw from Friesen? It won't be there in time. So stolen base from Ross Smith. Ross Smith advances to second. And the pitch was in for a ball, so it's 3-1 now to Jared Eaton.
Nice throw from Friesen. Just didn't have enough time before made it to second base.
3-1, and it's off the mark for ball number 4. So Eden gets the first on the walk. Ross Smith is on second after the stolen base, and that'll bring on Nate Self, another new batter to the lineup for today from University of Tennessee Martin from Missouri. It's great. You're getting guys representing all over America throughout this lineup. Just in the guys that we've seen today, we've seen California, Tennessee, Colorado, Indiana, Alabama, and now we see Missouri as the first pitch is taken for ball number 1 by Nate Self. But as I was saying earlier, the Xenia Scouts, they're now 8-8 on the season. As they've really turned it around, and one of those teams that might have a good shot is a little pickoff attempt, and they got him! Jared Eden tried to sneak off to second base on a steal attempt, but Matt Friesen said no way, and they're able to pick him off, and that retires the side. So Copperheads give up 1, but still maintain a lead 4-2 going into the bottom of the 5th inning. You listen to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. It's the bottom of the 5th inning here at Grady's Field in Xenia, Ohio on a hot 91-degree day. And when it's on turf, you could definitely feel it down there. But a lot of players on this Copperhead squads do prefer turf. And Bam Thomas will be batting first in the inning, followed by Kyle Ratliff and Ian Crump, your 3, 4, 5 batters for the Southern Ohio Copperheads, as Bam Thomas takes the first pitch in for a strike from the new pitcher in here, Jacob Wells, who is a newer addition to this Xenia Scouts team. He attends Penn State, so playing some big-time Big Ten baseball there, and from Hilliard, Ohio, and this is his 3rd appearance. He got the win in the 8-5 game against the Jazz, where he struck out 3 and only allowed 2 earned runs. And we'll see a Big Ten on Big Ten matchup later on the day when Gunnar Aldridge goes against them, as Michigan State and Penn State are rivals, as the 0-2 pitch is chopped out to first base, and the pitcher is able to come up and cover that. So good work from Blaze Bell and Jake Wells teaming up to get the first out. So a 3-1 play gets out Bam Thomas, and that'll bring on Kyle Ratliff, who was the hero of the only game that finished in this series, as the game was tied up at 5, and the Xenia Scouts, they led for most of the game until about the 5th inning or so, and then Copperheads were able to get a lead, and it was kind of back and forth from there, and then it was all tied up at 5, and Kyle Ratliff took the mound and absolutely destroyed a ball to put it out in the trees out behind the back fence. And ended up winning the Copperheads the game. Great interview with him afterwards, too, about the excitement he felt, as well as how baseball's a mental game. And even though started the day off with a pair of strikeouts, he really turned it around, as the 1-0 pitch is low and inside for ball number 2 to Kyle Ratliff, who has a walk and a fly out on the day. He also scored a run off of an RBI single from Mason Nadani.
Ratliff, a really mature hitter, able to kind of find the balls and pick the pitches that he wants.
Chopper out to Rover at short. Rover out to Bell, and it's there in time. So 2 down in the inning. And that'll bring on Ian Crump for his first at-bat of this game. Coming in at the DH position for Josh Steidel. And we'll see what Ian Crump can do. In a 4-2 game in favor of the Copperheads. They had this game postponed not once, not twice, but this is the third time they're resuming it as there's a hit from Ian Crump that just goes foul. It had a shot of staying in, but it seemed like the breeze might have been able to keep it a little bit out of play. So it'll be 0-1 now to Ian Crump.
Breeze coming in actually from a couple of different directions. The American flag out there in right field, blowing from right to left. And then you can kind of see the fence out there in left field, blowing left to right. So a little bit different of a thing. There's not much in a pretty flat area of Ohio, rather, today. So
the 0-1 was a ball. The 1-1 now is chopped out into foul territory towards the third base side. So it'll be 1-2 now to Ian Crump with no runners on, 2 outs. 4-2 lead for the Southern Ohio Copperheads over the Xenia Scouts. Xenia Scouts trying to get back above 500 after getting to 500 for the first time, as they were able to get to 8-7 with a win over the Jazz, and then the Jazz paid them back the next day and gave them a loss to get back to 8-8 as the 1-2 was in for a ball. So we'll see the 2-2 pitch here from Wells. And it's going to be hit very well into right field, but the play is made from Ross Smith coming up from his right field position, and that retires the side. So Copperheads not able to get anything going in the bottom of the fifth, but they still lead 4-2 going into the top of the sixth inning. You listen to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. It's the top of the sixth inning here at Grady's Field. The top of the sixth is presented to you by OUCU Financial, where you belong. Copperheads up 4-2 against the Xenia Scouts, and Matt Gilkey will be on the mound for the Copperheads still as he'll face off against Nate Self, Tommy Rover, and Evan Frahella. As he faced off against Nate Self, but a runner was caught stealing Jared Eden the last time around, so he'll get another chance. Add an at-bat as the first pitch was in for a ball. So it's 1-0, and now the 1-0 pitch is outside and low. Matt Friesen makes an impressive catch there with his glove across his body. But nevertheless, it's a 2-0 count for a Copperheads team that needs a win. They're in a big slump as there's a big swing and miss for strike number 1 from Nate Self. But like I was saying, the Copperheads 1-9 in their last 10 and looking to turn that around. Had the win over the Mariners 6-2, and then just have to build off of that. The pitch was low for ball number 3, so pretty good hitter's count here for Self if he wants to go for a swing here.
Try to attack the zone, give him something across the middle that he can swing at.
Good work from Gilkey delivering a strike. So it's a 3-2 count to Nate Self. With the Copperheads up 4-2 in a syncopated game. The 3-2 is fouled backwards, so we'll do it again. Very interesting way that this game has been played over a couple of days and different places. And I guess you can say the Copperheads have had a lead for almost a month. It's the 3-2 pitch. It's on its way, and it's absolutely harpooned out into right field, but luckily it goes foul just barely as the umpire shows off his dodgeball skills, making a nice duck there under the ball.
That ball came off the bat at a rocket speed. And good job by the first base umpire to duck out of the way there on the right side of your screen there.
So we got the 8th pitch of the at-bat coming, the 3-2 fouled backwards. So we'll see another pitcher as the ball's going back there, and a couple of kids are out here making a run for it. 2 kids trying to get to it. Who's going to get to it? The first kid got there. But we'll do it again at 3-2 with Matt Gilkey on the mound, and Copperheads trying to get out number 1 of the 6th inning, and there's going to be a deep drive into right center field. Ratliff is there, makes the catch. 1 down.
Kyle Ratliff, a really elite center fielder, and has kind of established himself as not only a leader on this team, as we've heard throughout the season, but really the anchor of this outfield. A lot of different guys get plugged in different spots in that outfield, but Kyle Ratliff has really been holding it down the entire time in that outfield.
Sure is. He's flanked today by Bam Thomas and Trey Rucker, who are at left field and right field respectively, as the next batter here for the Xenia Scouts is Tommy Rover, the shortstop, and he's had a pretty successful day in this game. He has a single in the 2nd inning and a walk in the 4th, and took the pitch out for a strike of the foul ball. So it's 1-1 to Tommy Rover. Been very active already today at the shortstop position as the 1-1 from Gilkey does a little check swing there for ball number 2.
Didn't quite get all the way around on that one. Ball number 2.
So Xenia having been able to improve in each matchup that they've faced off against the Copperheads, at least in terms of record, going from 1-3 to 3-7 to 8-8. The Copperheads, it's been the inverse, where they were 3-2, above 500 for the first matchup. And you have to think that if the Copperheads had these Xenia Scouts, well, they were still trying to figure it out, might have been more advantageous, as the 2-2 is hit out into foul territory. So we'll do it again at 2-2 for Tommy Rover.
Yeah, Sedric, it's difficult to say what might have happened, but the Copperheads definitely were on a bit of a roll when this first game was being played, and then even you saw them come out swinging last week.
2-2 is inside, so it'll be another full count, as the pitch count is definitely getting up there this inning. Is seeing quite a few pitches already from Gilkey, about 15, 16 pitches this inning alone with 1 out. Copperheads up 4-2, nobody on. Attempted curveball that just missed the zone to the outside. So that's ball number 4, and that's a walk.
Tough break on that one for Gilkey. Liked what he was working with, and then maybe went outside just a bit too far on that curveball. Good height on it coming into the box, but just not able to get that one inside the zone.
So that's walk number 2 for the Xenia Scouts since resuming this game. And now that'll bring on Evan Frahela, who is the next batter from University of Pittsburgh Bradford and is originally from Puerto Rico. Batting 143, at least at the time of the 2nd iteration of this game. His first pitch is outside and away for ball number 1 from Gilkey. Very nice breeze today, as we're not in the press box today. We're sitting out at a nice little table under the nice canopied stadium. And again, back-to-back days, Tim, where we've got nice canopies from McBride Stadium now here to Grady's Field. We've been able to get a nice dose of shade throughout these hot summer days.
Bit of a different, similar setup, but a different weather than yesterday. Nice breeze coming in today
1-0 is a deep drive to center field. Kyle Ratliff makes the routine grab, and now it's 2 down in the inning. Also would like to note Copperheads playing on their 3rd different playing surface over their last 3 games here, as they played in a hybrid field, half turf, half grass at Bob Wren, then played in a natural grass field at McBride, and now at Grady's Field, home of the Xenia Scouts. They're playing on an all-turf field as Peyton Neiman gets his first chance to bat today in this game. First pitch on its way, chopped over to Aldridge. Aldridge makes the play at second, throws it to Class, and that's out number 3. So quick inning there for the Copperheads. They only took 4 batters for them to get all 3 outs. And going into the bottom of the 6th, the Copperheads maintain their lead 4-2. You're listening to Southern Ohio Copperheads Baseball on YouTube. The bottom of the 6th inning is here at Grady's Field, and for the Copperheads, it'll be Nadolny, Class, Friesen, all due up in this inning. Your 6, 7, 8 batters in the order. And for Mason Nadolny, he takes the first pitch for a ball, as Nadolny reached on an error and also had a 2 RBI single in this game. Second pitch is in the turf for ball number 2. Good work from Evan Verhela at his catching position there, prevent any pass balls. That's been a killer for almost every team in this league, is untimely pass balls. And the Copperheads have been benefactors, or I should say beneficiaries, of those sort of situations that happened against the Mariners and happened as well yesterday against the Jazz, as the pitch from Wells is taken for strike number 1. So it's 2-1 to Nadolny, who has one of the higher batting averages on the team. Chops it foul for strike number 2, so it'll be 2-2 as Jacob Wells still on the mound, the pitcher from Penn State. For Xenia, still looking to try to pick up a strikeout. Does not have any of them yet, so looking for strikeout number 1 on the day. As we'll see the 2-2 on its way, and it's going to be going over to third base on a little hit, and it's not going to make it in time, so Nadolny goes down on the 5-3 play. So it was a good work from Nate Self coming from his third base position, who fielded it on 1 hop. So 1 down in the inning, and that'll bring on Mitch Class, Mason Nadolny's teammate at Concordia. And Mitch Class, he has a walk and a ground out on the day. First pitch with nobody on in a 4-2 game is taken for a strike.
Going to be really critical here in the next inning, maybe even the next inning. This inning, maybe even the next inning, is to get a couple of more runs up on that board. Only holding the 4-2 lead right now doesn't give your pitching staff much room to work with, and might force them to maybe throw some pitches they're not very comfortable with. So getting a couple more runs will allow them to continue to attack that zone.
The 1-1 is popped out. It might go into foul territory. No, it goes down for a base hit, just hitting the edge of the line. And Class will stay safely at first. Mitch Class does a solid job getting that ball that was a fly ball going way outside. It seemed to hang in the air for quite a while, Tim.
It did. It hung up there for a little bit, and like we were talking about, those crosswinds that are kind of coming in where we're sitting at made that ball really hard to judge. Ross Smith, Peyton Neiman, Blaze Bell all out there trying to make a play on that, and none of the three of them could really get a good look on it. So good job by Class to hustle that one out and get on base.
So Class picks up the single, and Matt Friesen will come on next to bat as he hit into a fielder's choice and also grounded out as he slams that first pitch out into foul territory. And Sebastian Silva is out there coming back from the concessions area and is able to pick up that baseball. But it's 0-1 now to Friesen as Wells looks at Class at first, delivers the pitch in for a strike right on the money into the zone. So it's quick 0-2 to Matt Friesen, who's doing the catching duties here today at Grady's Field for the Copperheads. One of the three great catchers on this squad between him, Silva, and Steidel. Put in solid work this season. Wells sets, delivers the pitch, and swing and miss. He got Friesen swinging. So that's 2 down in the inning with 1 runner on, and that's where Carson Shepard will come up. As on the day, he has a strikeout as well as a run, as he was hit by pitch in the 4th inning and then was able to score off of a Trey Rucker triple.
One of the only batters to get up to the plate in that game last week against the Scouts, and took one, I believe it was off of his elbow. Carson Shepard has, unfortunately, a ton of experience getting hit by balls this season. He's one of the league leaders, actually, in hit by pitches.
Yeah, he's had to show a lot of toughness there for the OU Bobcat. First pitch here from Wells is he does a great job going down to pick that up, and it's down for a base hit. Shepard delivering it right over to center field, or shallow center field, to be able to make that play. He put some really great touch on that.
He did, dropped it right in front of Jeffrey Hurd out there in center field, and these are the kind of hits that this team's going to have to put together if they want to score some runs and continue to have success in this game. You got to get those singles, and then now you've got to be able to drive those guys in. One thing we've talked about in the last couple of games is leaving so many guys on base, and like leaving those runs out there on the field. You got to be able to get those guys back home.
So Carson Shepard picks up the single. Mitch Class goes to second, and that'll bring on Trey Rucker, who has an RBI triple, a strikeout, and a ground out. So 1 for 3 on the day, as a bit of a breaking ball there from Wells is off the mark for ball number 1 to Trey Rucker, which when he gets on the base pass, be pretty dangerous, especially when it comes to stealing those bases, as he has one of the highest marks in the league in that statistical category. He sits at 5th in the league as the 1-0 pitch is in right on the money, hitting the middle part of that zone for strike number 1.
Rucker still trying to find out what Jacob Wells is working with. Second plate appearance. We'll see if he can make some adjustments here.
2 runners on. It's a 4-2 lead for the Copperheads, and now we see another pitch off the mark there from Wells for ball number 2. So it'll be 2-1 to Trey Rucker, the Arizona State man. And at the time this game resumed, he was batting .313. Now he's batting .333. So some steady improvement there over the stretch, as you see a hit in between first and second base. It's fielded by the Scouts, and the play is made. And that's some good work from Peyton Neiman, moving from his second base position, shuffling to his left to retire the side with 2 runners left on base. So the Copperheads still maintain a lead 4-2, but they're going to need to get a little bit more padding in their lead, as these next couple of innings will decide who will be able to come out on top in this GLSCL South matchup. You're listening to Southern Ohio Copperheads Baseball on YouTube. It's the top of the 7th inning here at Grady's Field. The top of the 7th was presented to you by Ohio Health. Copperheads up 4-2 as it'll be Jeffrey Hurd, Blaze Bell, and Ross Smith who will be due up this inning as the Xenia Scouts have eaten into the lead a little bit since we've resumed action. It was 4-1 at one point, and now it's 4-2 as we see strike number 1 delivered from Gilkey, who's pitching into his 3rd inning now as he's following up Colin Ryan, who had 4 innings pitched to start the game, and Hurd fouls that one backwards, so quick strike 2.
Gilkey looking a lot more comfortable than he did in that first inning, still trying to find his rhythm a little bit. Only his 2nd appearance of the year, and now in his 5th total inning of work the whole year, so nice pitch.
Yeah, Gilkey gets him in 3 pitches right there as he picks up the first strikeout of the day with some authority.
Something he wasn't able to do a whole lot in that first appearance. We get a lot of strikeouts, 3 walks and only 1 strikeout in his first appearance. I believe it was against the Cincinnati Steam, or no, the Licking County Settlers rather, in his first appearance, and gave up a couple of home runs in that one as well. So good to see him out there.
Now Blaze Bell is up. He swings and misses for strike number 1. Blaze Bell has strikeout and a pair of flyouts. So we will be playing a doubleheader. We'll start a new stream for that game. Copperheads resumed this game after starting on the 13th, then having to resume later on the 22nd, if I recall correctly, and then having to finish off this game here on the 30th. So significant time in between each of these games as the count is now 2-1, and there's going to be a hit. It's going to be down for a base hit to left field. So Blaze Bell picks up his first hit of the year, and not surprised to see that given that he's on a hot streak right now. And
no, that was a really well hit ball out there just above the head, and then the outstretched glove of Mason Nadolny out there. Ball just high enough that it got over Nadolny, big 6'4" guy out there on third base, but not quite where Bam Thomas was able to come in and scoop it up before it hit the ground. So nice piece of hitting there from Blaze Bell.
Yeah, it's solid location. We're starting to see these hitters become more and more precise and more accurate with the way that they hit these balls, not just popping it up, but also hitting it in strategically great places, whether it's hitting it in those areas where you're hitting it right between the third baseman and the left fielder, or the first baseman and the right fielder. Just finding those places where the fielders are not there. As you see a pitch there, the first one to the new batter, Ross Smith, is fouled off for strike number 1. Ross Smith has a pair of strikeouts as well as an RBI single, which scored Jeffrey Hurd back in the 5th inning. So with 1 runner on, Xenia down 2-4, as each team has 7 hits apiece and 1 error apiece. Runner goes. The 0-1 is fouled backwards, so the runner will have to go back to first as the leadoff runner now for the Xenia Scouts is Blaze Bell, who's on first. Ross Smith is now down to strike number 2.
Second batter in this inning now that Gilkey's got in a nice pitcher's count, down 0-2, had Jeffrey Hurd down in an 0-2 count as well.
Gilkey goes and keeps Bell honest at first, especially after the steal attempt. I think it's a great move there. Just make sure he's not taking too big of a lead off there at his position. So we'll see the 0-2 pitch coming to Ross Smith. There's the pitch, swing and miss, and he's got him again. So that's the 2nd strikeout for Gilkey as he's starting to settle in here in this 3rd innings pitch that he got. And that's 2 strikeouts, and that'll bring on Matt Early, who has a strikeout, reached on an error, and had a fly out on his day.
Biggest difference between this inning now with 2 strikeouts and in that first inning when he gave up that run, or rather the 5th inning when he gave up that run, is he's not trying to get too creative. He's kind of picking and choosing maybe where he wants to put those off-speed pitches, but really just pounding that zone. There's another fastball right down the middle.
Yep, swing and miss from Matt Early, who swung a little bit early there for strike number 1. So with 2 outs, count is 0-1 to Early. You see another pickoff attempt there. Runner is safe. Blaze Bell, the only runner on right now for the Xenia Scouts. And a 4-2 game. Copperheads trying to get that second win in their last 10 games here. Had a 6-game losing streak, and then they broke it recently with a win over the Mariners back on Friday, and then 3-game losing streak since then. And there's going to be a drive out into foul territory, so strike number 2. So 0-2 to Matt Early, and Gilkey with a chance to finish it off and get out of the inning.
Got another hitter, Matthew Early in there, 0-2. Went a little bit of an outside fastball the last time. We'll see if he can get him to chase one on that outside part of the plate. Or
so Matt Gilkey pitching to Matt Early, who chops it out to Shepard at shortstop, and he's able to make the play, delivering it to Aldridge for the force out at second. So that retires the side. Copperheads do pretty well defensively for back-to-back innings, and in the bottom of the 7th, they'll try to increase their lead. You're listening to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. It's the bottom of the 7th inning, and Southern Ohio Copperheads are up 4-2, and we see a Big Ten on Big Ten matchup as Gunnar Aldridge is up first, the Michigan State man going against rival school Penn State. Jacob Wells, the pitcher, attends that school, so nice little battle there. Also, Wells from Ohio, Gunnar from Michigan. There's always a little rivalry from the states, as it's a 1-1 pitch count, as they are all even here in this little matchup, as Gunnar Aldridge, Bam Thomas, Kyle Ratliff, the 2, 3, 4 batters for the Copperheads will all be due up this inning with nobody on, nobody out. Gunnar Aldridge uncorks one to center field. It's down for a base hit. It gets over the head of Jeffrey Hurd, and Gunnar Aldridge running to second. He's going to try for third. Coming in, it's going to be close. He slides in. He's safe. Gunnar Aldridge with a big triple over center field. And Gunnar Aldridge, who's been the hottest bat on the team, continues his hot streak.
Gunnar Aldridge, a guy we can know that can put a ball out of the ballpark, and looks like Jeffrey Hurd couldn't really judge that one again. Know if it was the winds or what was going on out there. Kind of lost it a little bit, able to get over his head, and Aldridge with that big stride of his too, able to get out to third base. Good base running by Gunnar Aldridge.
So Gunnar Aldridge gets a triple in Michigan State versus Penn State. Looks like they win. The Spartans win round number 1, as the first pitch to Bam Thomas is fouled off for strike number 1. Bam Thomas with a single, a double, and a ground out on the day. This game was right in the middle of when Bam Thomas was really starting to figure it out and was going on a pretty good hot streak, where he had a couple of games where he'd at least get a couple of runs, get 1 or 2 hits, and was definitely on fire throughout that stretch. That was a stretch where he ended up getting that first home run as well, as we'll see the 0-1 pitch on its way, and it's going to be uncorked down to the dugout of the Copperheads on the first base side, and now it'll be 0-2 for the Southern Ohio Copperheads with one runner on in scoring position, nobody out in a 4-2 game where the Copperheads are going to look to try to increase that lead a little bit and give some more padding for the pitching staff here. The Copperheads, the 0-2 from Wells is way up high. Bam Thomas is 6'4", and that ball was above his head. So it's ball number 1. It'll be a 1-2 count.
Bam Thomas, one of those guys that would love to get a hit here and just kind of reset himself mentally, as he struggled a bit in the last couple of days, made some adjustments. And
grounder out to first base. Blaze Bell fields it no problem for out number 1. Gunnar Aldridge stays at third, and that'll bring on Kyle Ratliff, who will try to take a shot here at driving Gunnar Aldridge home. Kyle Ratliff has a fly out, a walk, and a ground out. So looking for that first hit of the day, but he has been able to score a run off of the RBI from Mason Nadolny back in the 3rd inning.
Kyle Ratliff, a guy that hit a home run here at Grady's Field the last time we were here up in, I believe it was Game 7 of the year. Didn't have any video for that one as it was an absolute scorcher that day. Sedric and I sitting in the broadcast booth, I believe I drank about a gallon of water just trying to stay hydrated.
Kyle Ratliff hit that one down the third base side, foul for strike number 1, as it was an absolutely fantastic home run, one of the high points of the season, alongside Josh Steidel's RBI sac fly to win the game against the Mariners back in the first game at Bob Arrin Stadium in 2 years. The 0-1 and for a strike. So now it's a quick 0-2 to number 2 on the Copperheads, Kyle Ratliff. He had a home run the last time we saw him against the Richmond Jazz, as he absolutely smoked a ball to left field. And we'll see if he can get a home run to right field, as he has a home run to center, a home run to left. Doesn't have a home run to right field, though, for a man who is tied for the lead in home runs in the GLSCL with 4, alongside guys like Austin Deering and a couple of guys from the North Division as well, as the 0-2 pitch is way too high. Ball number 1, so it's 1-2 to Kyle Ratliff.
Bit difficult for right-handed hitters to hit out to that right field. The right field here is a bit shorter than some of the other fields, and the wind blowing in from right to left, so likely we'll see him hit something out to left if he is able to get a hold of it.
They got Kyle Ratliff swinging there, so strike number 3, as that's out number 2 for the Copperheads with one runner on third. Ian Crump takes the stage here and hopes to be able to drive Gunnar Aldridge home. We saw the Copperheads leave a couple of runners at third base in their matchup against the Jazz, and it could have been a difference. It could have made the game a lot closer, potentially, if they were able to capitalize here. But for the Copperheads, you had a situation with a runner on third and no outs, and they need to at least get Aldridge home just to increase the lead a little bit, as the first pitch is in for a strike. So Wells delivers a great pitch. He's got the curveball working now.
It does. His mix of pitches right now seemed to catch the Copperheads hitters off guard a little bit. We saw Gunnar Aldridge get a hold of one, but other than that, been a couple of bloop singles and ground outs, as well as a couple strikeouts.
4-2 lead for the Copperheads, and Ian Crump swings and misses there, as last time he was up, he had a fly out, but it's a quick 0-2 with 2 outs. Copperheads have a runner on third. That's Gunnar Aldridge. Aldridge having a nice leadoff at third and will attempt to get a score, as Crump will take a little break here and get himself settled. As Wells in the powder blue jerseys sets, fires a pitch, and it's fouled off, as Ian Crump did a decent job there of seeing the ball a little bit and is able to stay alive with a 0-2 count. Ian Crump representing South Dakota, and if we counted up, Tim, we might have about 20 or 25 different states represented here. It's the 0-2 pitch, it's on its way, and they got him swinging. So the Copperheads, after getting a triple to start the inning, they're unable to finish off the job and get Gunnar Aldridge home. But nevertheless, the Copperheads are in the lead 4-2 as we go into the 8th inning. You're listening to Southern Ohio Copperheads Baseball on YouTube. It's the top of the 8th inning here at Grady's Field. The Copperheads are up 4-2 in this syncopated game. This is the 3rd time they're resuming this matchup. It was 3-1 when they first stopped it, and then it was 4-1, and then they stopped it again for another thunderstorm. Now we're here finishing off this game on a picture-perfect day as the runners due up, or batters due up this inning. It'll be Jared Eden, Nate Self, Tommy Rover for the Xenia Scouts, who are down by 2, so very much in this game. Now Gilkey working a little bit of that breaking ball action as he delivers strike number 1. So it'll be 1-1 to Jared Eaton, who back in the 5th inning, he had a walk and then was caught stealing to retire the side. And now you see a chopper, Gunnar Aldridge trying to run with all he got. No, it gets to the 2nd level in the outfield. So leadoff runner gets on. That's Jared Eden getting to first on the single, and that'll bring on Nate Self.
Another example of these hitters being able to find the gaps in the defense. Gunnar Aldridge and Carson Shepard both playing a little bit outside and or a little bit towards the corners, and that left the middle of the infield open to get that ball put into play.
So 1 runner on, no outs. Copperheads up 4-2. Gilkey on the mound. He's pitched so far today. This is 4th inning of work now. So he's matched Colin Rhines' total, who pitched 4 innings as well. And got a pair of pickoff attempts there. Runner is safe each time. Definitely worth a try, though, as they were able to get Jared Eden stealing one of these times, so never hurts.
It was a good throw from Friesen, too. Some of these runners we've noticed in the last couple of the games have been able to find the timing of the pitchers, just like that right there.
Runner goes. Friesen throws it to Aldridge. Safe. He was not in time as Eden is able to right the wrongs of this 5th inning where he was caught stealing and avenge that with a steal stolen base. So runner is on 2nd, no outs. Copperheads still up 4-2. A game that the Copperheads need to have if they want to get back in this division race. They have a pair of games today, and if they can get to 7-11, they'd be right there back in it. But if it's the opposite, whether it's 1-1 or 2 losses, it's not going to work out for the Copperheads, and they'll be farther down as it's a 2-0 count now to Nate Self.
I think this is a team that just needs to get back into the win column just to kind of mentally reset everything. We hear so much about how mental the game of baseball is, and going 1 for your last 10 is just difficult for a team to mentally kind of deal with, and so I think getting back in the win column is going to be critical for this team to get back on the right track. A team that is talented and knows how to win games, but just kind of hasn't been able to put it together the last week and a half.
So the 3-0 pitch was in for strike number 1 to Nate Self, and Tim, you make some great points there as we've seen this Copperheads team find success. When they went to play the Xenia Scouts, they were 4-2 when they won that game off of the home run, and they were looking like a team that would be one of the biggest competitors in the division. But it goes to show they have it in them to go through a 6-game stretch and win 4 games, or to go on the road and go 500 on the road 2-2. So we know what the Copperheads are capable of. It's just about putting those puzzle pieces together. We've seen times of great pitching. We've seen times of great hitting. Just got to get it together and got to find that consistency. And there's definitely time. No shortage of time as there's 22 games left for the Copperheads as Self ended up walking. So there's a runner on first, runner on second, Self on first, Eden on second, and that brings on Tommy Rover, who bunts it. Friesen picks up the ball, throws it, and is it in time to class? It is. So fielder's choice there advances the runner as Friesen did a good job coming up from his catcher position and making the throw in time, but now there are multiple runners in scoring position with only 1 out in the inning.
Well-placed bunt as well. Friesen kind of fumbled it a little bit, maintained his composure to get that throw down to class at first base.
So now we see Evan Frahela, who has a fly out to center field. If he does that again, it'll be great as Nadolny steps on, and he's going to have a chance to be able to potentially tag the runner as the runner goes to third. So he's not going to have options as It's going to be a tag out there as they are able to get the leadoff runner. Eden actually, he ended up evading it and then was eventually tagged by Gilkey. So Gilkey doing a good job staying in it, as I thought he was already tagged, but apparently they missed it, as we saw a lot of back and forth motion there from Eden. It's like he had to do a little bit of a shuttle run there, as check those shuttle run times, but Copperheads able to get one runner down, but good work from the Copperheads, so that should be one out, as Frahelo was able to get all the way to second as a result of all the commotion, and we see Nate Self advance to third. Nate Self would have stayed at second. It would have given an opportunity for Eden to be able to at least get back, but to no avail.
Yeah, a bit of a weird double steal, triple steal scenario, and good job by Nadolny to continue, run with him and try to get him out. It was a team effort there between Nadolny, Friesen, Gilkey. Shepard came over to make the play at third, and I almost thought they got a double play there.
I thought so too.
Getting the runner at third.
Swing and miss there for strike number 2 to Peyton Neiman, who has a ground out on the day, and that retired the side back in the 6th inning. So Evan Frahela will guess out of that play, pick up the single there.
Copperheads dugout getting rowdy down there too, as
drive to right field. Trey Rucker loses his hat but makes the catch, and that retires the side with a couple runners left on. Matt Gilkey and this fielding team of the Copperheads is able to make sure no runs score as they play bend but not break defense. And in the bottom of the 8th inning, the Copperheads will try to increase their lead. You listen to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. It's the bottom of the 8th inning here at Grady's Field, and it'll be Mason Nadolny, Mitch Klass, Matt Friesen, 6, 7, and 8. Those will be the batters due up in this inning, as we see the first pitch to Nadolny taken for a ball. So Copperheads up 4-2. They need, as it stands right now, 3 more outs to end the game. As a swing and a miss there makes it a 1-1 count. As we've seen Wells do a great job, get a pair of strikeouts on his last 2 batters faced.
If you're the Copperheads, definitely need a run here in the bottom of the 8th to kind of extend that lead and give whatever closer that comes into this game a chance to take care of business. Looks like we got a couple guys down in the bullpen getting warmed up, and then just during the break saw Daniel Walter making his way back down to the dugout. He'll get ready, get warmed up. He'll get the start in the next game.
Speaking of break, there was a breaking ball by Wells, and he throws a fastball this time as he mixes it up and is able to get Nadolny swinging. So strike number 3 and 1 down in the inning for the Copperheads, and that'll bring on Mitch Klass, who the last time he was up, he singled and then was eventually retired at second base. What's always interesting to look at is how the standings have changed since this happened, as there's a hit out to third base. And are they able to get there in time? They are not. So the Copperheads, 2 quick runners down as Mitch Glass tried to get there before Nate Self could throw the ball, but Self doing a good job at his third base position. And Tim, now we've seen back-to-back games where there's been guys at third base who've just been nothing short of terrific.
We have Nate Self today playing really well at third base, and Peyton Lane yesterday, arguably the MVP of that game, allowed the Copperheads to not get anything down that left side of the infield. He was like a big brick wall down there.
And, of course, we can't do that without shouting out Mason Nadoni, who was really solid at third base. As there's a big hit from Friesen, but it goes right to the second baseman, and that retires the side. So Peyton Neiman makes the play, delivers it to Blaze Bell for out number 3, and that's a quick 1-2-3 inning as only 6 pitches were thrown. And going into the top of the ninth, it's make or break time here. If the Copperheads can force 3 outs without giving up 2 runs, the Copperheads will be victorious. If not, then we might see some drama here at Grady's Field. You're listening to Southern Ohio Baseball on YouTube. It's the top of the ninth inning here at Grady's Field. Top of the ninth is presented to you by Ohio Health. Copperheads up 4-2, trying to get their first win in a little while, and they'll have a shot, but it's going to have to get through the top part of the lineup. Jeffrey Hurd, Blaze Bell, Ross Smith, the 1-2-3 batters, all pretty talented hitters, as we already see Jeffrey Hurd uncork one out into left center field. Bam Thomas fields it on one hop, and it's in for a single.
Bam Thomas with an absolute cannon out there in left field. We saw him and Trey Rucker playing long toss yesterday, and they were throwing from almost the left field foul pole all the way to the right field foul pole. The dude's just absolutely unhinging that ball. And so I think that was a good play by Jeffrey Hurd to stay there at first base, as probably would have got thrown out by Bam Thomas.
So Blaze Bell comes on. Last time he was up, he singled. He's 1 for 4 on his day. As we see a pickoff attempt there to Jeffrey Hurd. He's safe. So there's been a couple of stolen bases on the day, actually just singular one. Actually a pair of them. Gilkey delivers the pitch in for a strike. So now it'll be 0-1 to the first baseman, Blaze Bell.
Pitching really well in this game. Gave up that 1 run in the 5th inning, but other than that, really settled into this game and has been doing really well.
The 0-1 Gonna be hit out to Nadoni. Throws it out to Aldridge. Throws it out to Class. Double play. Good work from the Copperheads on a 5-4-3 variant of the double play. You see a lot of 6-4-3s. Now we see a 5-4-3. Nadoni, Aldridge, and Class getting it done.
Well, Sedric, we just talked about how good the third basemen have been in the last couple of games, and Mason Nadolny, a guy that is in contention, likely get a couple of votes when they do the All-Star voting, and a guy that's hitting really well, hitting .364, as well as, again, a really solid piece of this defense night in and night out.
Xenia down to their last out now is Ross Smith. Took the first pitch for a ball. Gilkey delivers the second pitch in for a strike, hitting that inside part of the zone that's so tough to hit. Great pitch from Gilkey into his 5th inning here. With nobody on, the 1-1 hops across the ground and into Friesen's glove for ball number 2. As Copperheads can almost taste victory as they're ever so close. The Xenia Scouts try to challenge that. Double play was definitely huge, especially after the first runner got on with a base hit. Double play steals momentum a little bit.
It does, kind of halts the opposing team's momentum, or rather the offense's momentum. We'll see Friesen come out, talk to Gilkey, make sure they're on the same page. But yeah, definitely kind of put a halt on what spark Xenia might have had left in them. We'll see if they can take care of Ross Smith now, down in the count 2-1.
2-1 pitch on its way. It's going to be a deep drive to right field. Trey Rucker is there. He slides. He makes the catch. And the Copperheads, for the second time in the last 16 days, are victorious.
Great job by the Copperheads to come into this game and settle down a little bit. It's been a rough couple of days for the Copperheads, and so it's good to see them come out here and get a victory. We'll get about a 45-minute break, and then, you know what, Sedric? They'll have to do it again. So definitely a great feeling, great win for this team. But game doesn't stop here. They'll have another one here and have to continue to do the same things that we saw in this game here in the next game, or we'll be back to the same problems we've been having the last couple of days.
Of course, but it feels a lot better now to get a win in your system. It gives you a lot of momentum going into the next game of the series. The Copperheads now are up on the Xenia Scouts in the in-season series 2-0, and they have a chance to potentially clinch the series for the tiebreaker, just in case there's any ties in the standings. The tiebreakers are always going to matter, and the Copperheads play every team in the division an odd amount of times, whether it's 5 or whether it's 9. Xenia is one of the teams that they're playing against 5 different times, so getting that win is absolutely huge. And now the Copperheads improved their record to 6-11 on the season, and it's got to feel good. And now the Xenia Scouts, as a result of the loss, fall to 8-9 as they're back below 500. But for the Copperheads, again, just getting a win is great. The pitching from Gilkey, absolutely terrific. Only gave up 1 run through 5 innings, which is absolutely terrific. So he's probably going to pick up the save. Colin Ryan picks up the win for the Copperheads. And this is one of the rare games, too, where they spent a majority of the game, Tim, in the lead, which is absolutely fantastic.
It was, and it's a bit of a different feeling than this team is normally used to, as a lot of these wins that we've seen from this team this year have been more of the come-from-behind wins. So the fact that they were able to take a lead earlier in this game, hold on to it, and then solid pitching from Matt Gilkey today, a night and day difference from the performance that we saw from him against the Licking County Settlers last week. Went 5 innings, only gave up that 1 run, only a couple of walks, had a couple of strikeouts to go with it. So definitely something that he'll be able to look back and be really happy with as we move on into the year.
Yeah, Gilkey could potentially be another guy in that starting lineup of different starting pitchers. Is going 5 innings, that's a pretty good output. That's a starting pitcher output. And it'd be a great addition.
And if he continues to pitch like that, I think he'll kind of find himself in that role, starting to fill that in a little bit. Maybe we kind of move away from the bullpen day, maybe have him maybe start in that bullpen type role, go 3, 4, 5 innings, and then that lays the groundwork for guys like Sean Peck, Jake Jordan, to come in and finish out the rest of the game.
So we'll take a 45-minute break, and the Copperheads will start a new stream here as they'll face the Xenia Scouts. But once again, the Copperheads win the first round of this doubleheader 4-2, and they're back in the win column. For Sedric, Granger, and Tim Hanna, thank you for joining us for a Copperhead victory.
Yes.